So today we're going to discuss how to make a budget in Microsoft Excel, and this is something that you can do for a finance class or for a career preparedness class, and I'm just going to show you the step-by-step way to work on one. First thing you're going to need to do is click on the Start button right here, and as you can see, Excel is an option right here, so you click on it and it will open. Now there are a ton of different templates in Excel, and if you're wanting to look for different budget templates, you can click this right here. It's already there for you, and it will search for them, and this will give you an option for all of the different kinds of budget templates that you can use. Now you can also do a budget from scratch, and I prefer to use a template just because the calculations and the formulas are already in there for you, so once you input a number, it will calculate it for you. So I'm going to look for a family budget in particular. So let's type in here at the top, family monthly budget. And you hit enter and see what it pulls up. So I'm going to choose this family monthly budget planner, and you just click on it once and a preview will show up and you can click create. So as you can see, there's graphs right here you can use. You can change the date here. So if I want to make this for November, I just click in the text box and I'll highlight the word and type in November 2014. And I can either hit enter or I can click outside of the box. So here's a graph that once you start adding in numbers, it will change on its own. This cash flow section will also change on its own once you have your total income and total expenses. So I can just go through here and start typing different things in here. Say, click here, double click if you want to edit, and I'm going to say the projected income is about $3,000. And this is a section right here called actual income, and this is something that you'll change later, maybe at the end of the month when you find out exactly how much you actually made. And if you go back to the expenses, you can see how much you actually spent and see the variance there to see what kind of changes you need to make to your budget. So I'm not going to have a second income, so I'll double click here and make that 0 and just hit enter. Now if you've noticed, every time I hit enter, the totals are changing, so it's doing that automatically, and I'm going to leave the extra income by itself. Now you have the option to highlight these rows and delete them. The problem that you can run into when you do that is that the formulas may not add up correctly when you start deleting rows. So I'm going to just put 0 in the ones that I don't use. That way we shouldn't have any problems. So housing expense, I'm going to double click, make that 560. We'll leave everything else the same here except for cable. We'll make cable more realistic. Put that at about 100. And I'll hit enter and scroll down and you can see the subtotal here on the bottom. So for transportation, I'm not making any payments on any of this except for fuel, so we'll just hit 0. And what you can do is treat this the same way you would any kind of Excel spreadsheet, and you can actually use the fill handle. So if you click right here on the corner when this turns into a black cross and you drag down, it will copy the 0 into all of these cells here. So for fuel, I'll make that about 100. We'll put about 50 on maintenance and 0 on others. And hit enter. We'll put this as 0. Use the fill handle again, and the fill handle just makes everything a lot quicker if you're going to be using the same numbers. Groceries, we'll put at 150, dining out at 50, 0 for other. I don't have any children, so I can put a 0 here and do the fill handle down. Keep scrolling. I don't have a pet. Personal care, maybe put $50 there for medical copays, maybe about 50 for hair, 50 for clothing, nothing for dry cleaning, and everything else can be put at 0. And I'm just going to leave all of this as 0 because I'm not wanting much entertainment this month. Don't have any loans. expenses are taken out automatically, so I'm not going to put any extra towards that. Now, this is different for every person. Everybody's costs are completely different, so this won't necessarily be the way you fill yours out, but this is just the way I'm showing it. I'm not putting anything in retirement. For investment, let's put about 200, and we'll do 0 for the other two. Gifts and donations, let's say about 100. Oops. Do 0 in the fill handle. Then no legal. So as you can see, you can do this really quickly, especially if you don't use a lot of these categories here. So once I have filled all of the projected side out, I'm not going to worry about the actual yet because I won't have those numbers until the end of next month. So I'm going to scroll back up to the top. So you can see my total projected income is going to be about $3,300 a month. My total expense is going to be about $1,621 a month. So that means I have $1,679 left for cash flow that I can just spend on anything. It's not part of the budget. This probably isn't very realistic. I'm sure there's some more expenses that I will probably have accrued by the time I'm actually using this budget. But this is just to give you an idea of how you need to make sure your income is always higher than your expense, and then you'll be in the green over here. And if you look right here to the total income, total expense, total cash flow graph, it gives it a visual representation of the money that you're spending. So that is the way you would create a budget in Excel, and then you would just go up here to File, Save As, and you could save it here in your documents. And I'm going to just leave it as monthly budget and hit save, and you would be good to go. You could also print it if you wanted to. Go to File, Print, and it looks like it's going to all be on one page or a few pages, but it doesn't go off the sides. But if you wanted to make it to landscape orientation, it might look a little bit better, be easier to read for you. And you would just hit print. And that's all for today. Thank you very much.